Dear colleagues, I want to ask what comes to mind when we think of artificial intelligence. It is useless to deny most of us in today's Europe are seized with fear. Extinction of humanity, mass unemployment, society of control are some of the concerns that emerge when contemporary Europeans think about the disruptive innovations that artificial intelligence is and will increasingly bring about. On the other hand, another type of fear does not emerge, namely that of artificial intelligence in the hands of competitors, economic or geopolitical or even enemies. Often, unfortunately, the blindness of the current European leaderships has poured like a waterfall on the citizens of the Union, which by now tend to see of this as of any other technological innovations, only the repercussions, almost always negative, internal to the Union, without ever deepening the external ones. When we imagine artificial intelligence as an entity separate from us, hostile and ready to submit us, we always imagine it moved by the authorities of our own states, without ever asking ourselves what the same technologies could do with us if they were abandoned in the hands of external hostile or enemy actors. This is a bad strategic blindness which, in Europe, is shared by both the peoples and the ruling classes. If on the one hand, it is right to maintain a prudent attitude to protect the privacy, economy, and social stability of our countries, on the other hand, it is equally prudent to consider artificial intelligence also as a tool to protect all the same assets. Are we ready as Europeans, as European politicians for this revolution? No, we are not. To some extent, it is normal not to be ready for a revolution. If a revolution took place gradually, announcing itself in time, we will not speak of a revolution but of a simple change. A certain measure of unpreparedness and surprise is, therefore, consubstantial with the idea of the revolution itself. The worst mistake, however, would be to transform this unpreparedness for the revolution into a constitutive identity element of our political proposal. The dutifully cautious approach to artificial intelligence algorithms, and more generally to technology as a whole, must not place us in the difficult position of defending traditional positions that gradually become less and less defensible. Such an attitude would not, among other things, be inherent in the same European identity, which has always seen one of its most characteristic elements in the pursuit of technological progress. Artificial intelligence, precisely because it is artificial, remains in the final analysis indebted to human thought. Artificial intelligence, working like an architect, can design many buildings for us, responding to criteria of functionality and sustainability. However, for everything related to shape, task, as well as the sustainability and the definition of concepts, it depends on informations and codifications provided by man. In the final analysis, it is precisely our attitude that codifies what an artificial intelligence can do for us. This is why our attitude in the face of it has a priority importance. Faced with the challenge of artificial intelligence, we must know what we want and how we want it. Approaching artificial intelligence as a disaster that we must suffer rather than as a process that we must govern and direct not only places us as Europe and Europeans on the margins of big politics and big world economy, but condemns us to a perpetual condition of geopolitical and economic subordination in the face of actors who, if not enemies, certainly configure themselves as competitors. This is the case of the United States and Russia, and even more so the People's Republic of China. Faced with these competitors, Europe is lagging behind. According to a report released last year by EU Observer, it is estimated that every year in the whole European Union, only 1 billion euros is spent on research on artificial intelligence, compared to 5.1 in the United States and 6.8 in China. This is a dramatic delay, which as people who care about Europe and its future, we can no longer ignore. As if that weren't enough, Brexit has further complicated the scenario, removing from the European Union the member state that invested the most in artificial intelligence research, while the more or less tense relations between London and the European Commission risk in turn transforming also the United Kingdom in a further competitor of Europe. The scarcity of European investments in this sector not only penalizes Europe directly, slowing down its progress, but accelerates that of its competitors. In fact, researchers and informatic technicians related to artificial intelligence research will be more inclined to emigrate where their studies can be most rewarded and where their skills can be adequately paid. Not only implement our artificial intelligence expert, but also invest so as not to lose or not frustrate those already in field. If possible, indeed, it will be important to reverse the course and try to attract in Europe the energies coming from countries more advanced in the field of research, such as the United States and the United Kingdom, for example. Essentially, and as a priority, Europe must be prevented from becoming a large supermarket, or better to say, a colony, even in this sector. A digital sovereignty must be a priority for us. However good our relations with our economic and commercial partners may be, it will always be necessary to keep in mind that any model or application of artificial intelligence coming from non-European areas will always respond primarily to non-European interests. In this case, it will not be selfishness of the other powers in the arena of global competition to blame, but rather the blindness of the European rulers, unable to grasp the importance of artificial intelligence in areas such as the military and cybersecurity. In all phases of development of technologies based on artificial intelligence, the European Union must therefore be as autonomous as possible and able to go alone. The creation of specific specialization school, perhaps financed by European Union funds, should also be taken into consideration, just as, on the other hand, an adequate humanistic cultural education should provide the baggage necessary to develop critical thinking that allows us to see the artificial intelligence with objectivity. That is, not as the coming totalitarian nightmare, nor as the new secular deity to be entrusted with the resolution of all problems, but as one tool among many capable of improving our lives as citizens and European workers. I don't think I am sinful of chauvinism by stating that nowhere have technological development and critical thinking been linked as in Europe. Indeed, we can say with certainty that the first technological development and the Industrial Revolution that made Europe's fortune are a direct consequence of critical thinking of Judeo-Christianity and even early Greco-Roman metrics. Technological and economic tools, therefore, must also cultural and philosophical ones, a proactive, optimistically prudent, and realistically critical attitude. This is how you don't become a colony, always remembering that the millenarian panic that sometimes besiege conservatives is just as dangerous as the reckless optimism that instead pervades, animates, and possesses the fields of the progressive. As conservatives, we are called to preserve what good we have received from the past. We should keep one thing in mind: the proactive and inquisitive attitude that has made progress feel at home in Europe is, in all respects, one of these legacies of the past. The nefariously progressive element, on the contrary, is the unjustified panic towards any novelty, this foreign sentiment that has never inhabited Europe, not even in those that progressive love mistakenly to define as Dark Ages. Maintaining this attitude, which was European from the dawn of the birth of European civilization, is therefore a genuinely conservative act. The Europeans of the future will be grateful to us if we'll be able to leave it to them as a legacy. Thank you so much.